But I think that's over. I think that's done. But
What do you mean?
I think his career is finished.
By this time, Cash Money wasn't just buzzing, it was booming. Bigger offices, flashy cars lined up like trophies, and the whole label had leveled up in a major way. Birdman, always plotting the next big move, wanted Buck to be part of a new crew he was forming called Head Busses. So Buck flew back to New Orleans, ready to lock in. But man, history started replaying itself in the worst way possible. No joke, Buck spent a whole week just waiting around. No contracts, no meetings, no real progress. He could feel the same old story unfolding again, and he wasn't having it. He wasn't that naive 14-year-old kid anymore. He was grown now, with bills, family, and momentum back home. He didn't have time to just sit in someone else's waiting room hoping for promises to come true. Then, out of nowhere, something wild happened that changed everything. Juvenile, yes, that Juvenile, pulled up at the Cash Money office and was shocked to see Buck sitting there looking stuck. Juvenile was going through his own issues with Cash Money at the time, beefing behind the scenes, and trying to make his next move too. After talking with Buck, he hit him with an offer that flipped the script completely. He wanted Buck to join his new label, UTP Records. Buck accepted and started rocking with Juvenile's UTP crew. But here's where Buck's street smarts really showed. When Juvenile handed him the contract to make it official, Buck didn't sign it right away. He took it home, slid it under his bed, and left it there, never actually putting ink on the paper. That move was cold but calculated. He knew how the game worked and wasn't about to get locked into something shaky again. During that time, Buck dropped Born to Be a Thug on October 10th, 2002, and also appeared on the UTP Players compilation that came out just 2 days earlier. He was putting in work and building buzz, but technically, he still wasn't signed to any label. Why? Because Buck was watching everything closely. He saw how things had gone down at Cash Money, and he noticed Juvenile was having his own battles with the label too. Buck wasn't about to jump into another messy situation that could trap his career before it even took off. At one point, Juvenile kept it real with him and said, "If you find something better, go for it." That advice would end up changing Buck's life. While on tour with Juvenile, their bus made a stop in New York around 2002, the exact time 50 Cent was running the city. His name was ringing in every corner, every mixtape, every barbershop. He was that hot. The bus driver happened to know 50's former manager, Shaw Money XL, and Buck couldn't stop pressing him to set up a link. He wanted 50 to hop on the bus and possibly cook up some music. Eventually, it happened. 50 himself pulled up. But here's the twist. 50 was there to record with Juvenile, not Buck. While 50 and Juve were in the back laying down tracks, Buck made his own play. He started bumping some of his solo joints for Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, who were also on the bus. One of those beats caught Banks' ear instantly. Banks ran it to the back where 50 was working, and 50 jumped on it right then and there. That song turned into Bloodhound, one of the standout joints on 50's Get Rich or Die Tryin' album. That wasn't even the first song they ever did together, though. Their first collab was A Little Bit of Everything off the 50 Cent Is the Future mixtape. But Bloodhound was the track that really introduced Buck to the mainstream. 50 liked Buck's energy and talent, but at the time, he couldn't sign him because he wasn't officially with a major label yet. Still, 50 kept Buck in mind. And sure enough, when UTP started falling apart just like Buck predicted, fate stepped in once again, setting the stage for something legendary. By now, Cash Money had exploded into a full-blown empire. Big offices, shining luxury cars everywhere, and Birdman was living like a king. The whole squad had leveled up for real. Birdman wanted Buck to be part of a new group he was putting together called Head Busses. So, Buck hopped a flight back to New Orleans, thinking this was his next big move. But man, things started looking way too familiar, like history was coming back to haunt him. For real, Buck sat around for a week straight, waiting for that deal to actually move. No papers signed, no money, no progress. The man was just stuck in limbo again. But this time, he wasn't that wide-eyed teenager anymore. He was grown, with responsibilities, and a life waiting for him back home. Sitting around doing nothing wasn't part of his plan anymore. Then, out of nowhere, something wild happened. Juvenile walked into the Cash Money office and was stunned to see Buck just chilling there, still waiting for something to happen. Juvenile had his own drama with Cash Money, major beef, business issues, tension in the camp, and he was plotting his next move too. After chopping it up, Juvenile made Buck an offer that would shift his whole path. He wanted him to join his new crew, UTP Records. Buck jumped in and officially started working with Juvenile's UTP label. But this is where Buck's street smarts really showed out. When Juvenile gave him that contract, Buck didn't rush to sign it. He took it home, stashed it under his bed, and never actually signed it. That move was cold, but brilliant. He was already learning how this business really worked and wasn't about to get caught up again in shaky deals. During that time, Buck dropped Born to Be a Thug on October 10th, 2002, and also appeared on UTP Players just 2 days earlier. He was putting in real work, but technically, he still wasn't signed to anyone. Why? Because Buck had seen enough to know better. Juvenile was battling the same kind of problems with Cash Money that Buck had watched up close before. It was chaos, and Buck wasn't about to gamble his future on that. Juvenile even kept it real and told Buck straight up, "If you find something better, take it." And that moment of honesty? It would change Buck's life forever. While on tour with Juvenile, their bus made a stop in New York in 2002, and the city was on fire for 50 Cent. He was the name on every mixtape, every radio show, every corner of the streets. The tour bus driver just so happened to know 50's former manager, Shaw Money XL, and Buck wouldn't stop asking him to set something up. He wanted 50 on that bus to make something happen. And guess what? It actually went down. 50 came through. But the wild part? 50 wasn't there for Buck. He was there to record with Juvenile. While 50 and Juve locked in at the back of the bus, Buck made his move. He started playing his own music for Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, who were also on the bus. One of Buck's beats caught Banks' ear immediately. Banks ran it to the back where 50 was recording, and 50 laid a verse on it right there. That track would become Bloodhound, a major cut-off 50's Get Rich or Die Tryin' album. That wasn't even the first joint they did together. Their real first collab was A Little Bit of Everything from the 50 Cent is the Future mixtape. But Bloodhound? That was the one that officially introduced Buck to the mainstream crowd. 50 liked Buck instantly, but at that point, he couldn't offer him a deal yet. He still wasn't signed to a major himself. But 50 never forgot about him. So when Buck's situation with UTP started falling apart, just like he predicted, fate came through again in a big way. 50 reached out and flew Buck to Los Angeles to meet with Eminem and Dr. Dre to officially sign him to G-Unit. Imagine that. 3 of the biggest names in the game, all ready to bring Buck into the fold. That was the moment every rapper dreams about. After all those setbacks, all those false starts, this was finally his shot at greatness. Buck's first official G-Unit placement was Bloodhound on Get Rich or Die Tryin'. But 50 had a plan. He wasn't going to rush Buck's solo project. Instead, he decided to build up the brand first by dropping the Beg for Mercy album, a G-Unit group project that would introduce Buck to the world as part of the squad. And man, it worked. Beg for Mercy debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, moving a massive 377,000 copies in its first week. Today, it's sold over 2.7 million in the US and is nearly diamond worldwide. Buck had finally arrived on the biggest stage possible, and everyone was watching. Riding that wave, Buck dropped his own mixtape, Welcome to the Hood, on May 31st, 2004, hosted by DJ Who Kid, heating things up for his solo debut. Then came his first official single, Let Me In, featuring 50 Cent. It peaked at number 34 on the Billboard Hot 100. Finally, on August 24th, 2004, Buck dropped his debut album Straight Outta Cashville. The impact was massive. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, sold 361,000 copies its first week, and went platinum. Buck had officially gone from sitting in record label lobbies to running the charts. What a come-up. Buck was moving like a boss now. No longer just a rapper, but a leader. He dropped an independent album to shine a light on the new talent coming up under his own branch of the movement, G-Unit South. 50 had trusted him with control, and Buck was stepping into that executive lane, building his own mini-empire inside the G-Unit machine. 2006 was a major grind year for Buck. He flooded the streets with mixtapes, keeping his name hot and building momentum for what was coming next. On February 6, 2006, he dropped Case Dismissed. The introduction of G-Unit South with DJ Drama, a major statement. It wasn't just a celebration of him finally beating that legal case from the infamous Vibe Award stabbing, but also an introduction to the artists he was putting on through G-Unit South. Buck was turning pain into power. But while Buck was focused on music and business, tension was brewing at the top. Around the time he started recording his second album, Buck the World, 50 Cent, and their shared manager, Shaw Money XL, started having serious issues. The situation got so bad that 50 called a meeting with the entire G-Unit team and told everyone they needed to cut ties with Shaw Money immediately. And this is where Buck's biggest strength, his loyalty, turned into his biggest problem. See, Buck and Shaw Money weren't just business partners, they were family. Buck was even the best man at Shaw's wedding. So when 50 told the crew to drop Shaw, Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo fell in line quick. But Buck, he couldn't do it. In Buck's mind, Shaw hadn't done anything wrong to him personally, and he believed the issues between 50 and Shaw would eventually get fixed. To Buck, walking away from someone who had been there since day one wasn't an option, but to 50, that looked like betrayal. He felt Buck was choosing sides and not his. From that moment, things shifted fast. Fans noticed too. You'd see 50, Banks, and Yayo together everywhere. Shows, interviews, events. But Buck and Shaw Money were left promoting Buck's project alone. Buck later said, this was one of the main reasons Buck the World didn't perform like his debut. He stayed busy, constantly dropping music and trying to rebuild his career brick by brick. But just when things seemed to be leveling out, trouble found him again. On July 15th, 2016, Buck got arrested for allegedly threatening to burn down his ex-girlfriend's apartment and ended up doing 7 months behind bars. Another setback, another dark chapter. But Buck refused to stay down. By 2018, things started looking bright again when he dropped Can't Lose on March 30th, a fire single that showed the world he still had it. Fans got even more hyped when Buck announced his third studio album would be executive produced by both 50 Cent and Dr. Dre. It sounded like another comeback was on the way, but sadly, it didn't last. The tension with 50 came roaring back, and soon after, 50 claimed Buck owed him over $300,000. He even hit Buck with cease and desist orders, blocking him from releasing new music. Then came one of the hardest moments of Buck's career. In 2019, leaked audio surfaced of Buck having a private conversation with a trans person. The internet went wild, and instead of showing empathy, 50 mocked him publicly online with disrespectful posts that crossed the line. It was brutal. Another public storm that closed the door on any possible G-Unit reunion. In 2020, Buck filed for bankruptcy again, this time as a way to escape his G-Unit contract and the lawsuits piling up. After a long legal battle, the case finally ended in 2023, with Buck agreeing to pay around $200,690 of the $250,000 debt he owed. To make it happen, he had to sell off nearly $1.05 million worth of assets, spending over $445,000 just on legal fees and using the rest to cover creditors. Then, in April 2025, Buck ran into more trouble. He was arrested again for violating bond conditions tied to an old 2020 domestic assault case. He served 30 days and was released around May 12, 2025. His trial has since been postponed to January 12, 2026. But here's the silver lining. Buck seems to finally be in a better place mentally and emotionally. These days, he's active online, celebrating milestones like the 18th anniversary of Straight Outta Cashville, sharing stories, and focusing on legacy instead of the pain he's rebuilding at his own pace, staying strong through it all, and showing everyone that no matter how many times you fall, you can always rise again. If you've been rocking with Buck's journey, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. Check out one of the videos on your screen for more wild hip-hop stories and behind-the-scenes drama.